Have you ever felt like you are constantly reaching for a breakthrough that remains just out of your grasp, as if an invisible barrier stands between you and the abundance you were promised? For centuries, we have been taught that a blessing is something we must beg for, a distant gift granted only to a few. But what if the word Jesus actually used carried a vibration so powerful that it didn't just ask for favor? It commanded the very fabric of reality to shift in your presence. Today, we are peeling back the layers of translation to reveal a hidden Aramaic frequency that most modern ears have never heard. This isn't about a simple wish. It is about an ancient activation used on the shores of Galilee to transform lack into overflowing life. By the end of this journey, you will not only know this word, but you will understand how to breathe it into your own circumstances to dissolve the shadows of scarcity forever. The truth about how Jesus walked in constant favor is far more practical and more rhythmic than you have ever been told. To truly understand the authority of Jesus, we must first step away from the cold, printed pages of modern Bibles and return to the dusty, vibrant air of the first century. Aramaic was not merely a tool for exchanging information. It was a language of breath, a language where every sound was believed to carry a literal physical vibration that interacted with the world around it. When Jesus stood before a crowd or looked at a withered life, he didn't just speak words, he released frequencies of creative power. The word we are exploring today is Burka, while your modern translation simply calls it blessing. The original Aramaic depth of Burka describes a pool of water or a knee that bows to receive a flow. It is the image of a constant artesian spring that refills itself the moment it is used. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, we see this principle of divine alignment woven into every instruction Jesus gave about how to live without anxiety. By using the word Burka, Jesus was showing his followers that favor is not a reward for being perfect, but a consequence of being open to the flow of the Creator. It is the difference between a cup that is sealed shut and a vessel that is turned upward, ready to be filled. As we move deeper into this teaching, you will realize that the lack you feel today isn't a destiny, but a temporary blockage that this ancient sound was designed to clear. Many of you watching this today carry a weight that feels almost physical, a tightness in the chest or a shadow in the mind that whispers there is not enough. You feel it when you look at your bank account, when you face a strained relationship, or when you wonder if your purpose has passed you by. This is the frequency of scarcity, a heavy vibration that acts like a wall, preventing the very goodness you seek from finding its way to your door. This internal weight is like a stone placed over a spring, muffling the sound of the water and turning a vibrant garden into a desert. You try to pray, you try to believe, yet the stone remains unmoved because you are using the language of the desert to ask for rain. Jesus knew that human pain often stems from this disconnection, the feeling that we are orphaned from the source of all life, forced to survive on our own meager strength. But there's a bridge back to the source, a way to roll away the stone and let the living water of Burka flow again. In the moments ahead, I will lead you through a focused prayer that will help you align your spirit with this original frequency. If this teaching has opened a new perspective for you, our Aramaic Wisdom Guide can help you continue this journey. After all, true knowledge sets us free. You'll find the link in the comments. There is a profound and visible contrast between those who walk the earth under the heavy, suffocating cloud of not enough, and those who have truly awakened the frequency of Burka within their spiritual DNA. The person trapped in the frequency of lack lives in a state of constant, weary defense. Every decision is made from a place of fear-clutching what they have with white-knuckled intensity, terrified that if they let go, or if they are too generous, the universe will somehow fail to replenish them. This state of being is not just mentally exhausting, it is spiritually. It creates a closed circuit where no new energy can enter because the hands and the heart are too tightly shut. This was never the way you were intended to live. Jesus carried a peace that seemed illogical to the world around him, a serenity that remained unshaken even when the storms of life were at their most violent. He could be calm in the midst of the tempest because he knew, with an absolute Aramaic certainty, that the pool of divine supply was never more than a breath away. However, we must address why so many sincere seekers today attempt to use these ancient words and yet find themselves standing in the same dry desert. frustrated and wondering why the heavens seem like brass above them. They repeat the sounds. They study the history, but they remain on the outside, looking in. This is because there is a critical internal component, a specific alignment of the heart, and the breath that acts as the final key to the lock. Without this key, the word is just a sound, lacking the rucha, or the spirit breath, required to give it life. There is a common mistake, a subtle but devastating error in posture that almost everyone makes when they try to mentalize or speak the word, Burka. It is a mistake that actually pushes the blessing away, even as you are calling for it. Most people are unaware they are doing it, yet it is the primary reason their spiritual efforts feel like a constant uphill struggle. In the next chapter, we will finally resolve this misunderstanding, ensuring that when you speak, the heavens do not just hear you, they respond. And the best is yet to come in the next chapters. You'll discover what could change everything for you. Heavenly Father, source of all that is, I stand before you now to release the frequency of Burka into every corner of my life. I let go of the shadow of lack and open my heart to the overflowing pool of your divine favor. Let the ancient rhythm of Jesus move through my breath, turning every scarcity into abundance, and every fear into faith, as I align with your eternal flow. I am no longer an orphan of the desert. I am a child of the spring. The depth of the word Burka begins to reveal its true power when we look at its ancient Aramaic roots, far beyond the surface of modern translations. In the Semitic mind, words were pictures of reality. The root of Burka is connected to the act of kneeling, but not in the way we often think of today, as a sign of defeat or groveling. Instead, to kneel in the ancient world was a tactical positioning. It was the act of lowering oneself to the earth so that a heavy, precious gift could be placed upon the shoulders, or positioning oneself at the edge of a pool to drink deeply. Itisan, act of readiness to receive. When Jesus spoke of blessing, he was describing a structural alignment where the human spirit stops trying to stand in its own ego strength and instead bows to become a conduit for the divine treasury. This first layer of etymological teaching shows us that abundance is not something earned through frantic labor or intellectual striving. It is accessed through the profound stillness of a soul that knows how to position itself correctly under the flow of the Creator. To say Burka is to say, I am now in the right position to receive the weight of your glory. As we sit with this sound, we begin to feel the pressure of the pool rising within us, preparing to overflow into the areas of our lives that have been dry for far too long. We see the most powerful and transformative application of this principle when Jesus stood before thousands of hungry people on a grassy hillside, with nothing but 5 small loaves and 2 dried fish. The disciples saw a crisis of lack. They saw a mathematical impossibility. But the scriptures tell us that Jesus took the bread, looked up toward heaven, and blessed it. In the original Aramaic context, he was not just saying grace or giving thanks in a ritualistic way. He was invoking the frequency of Burka. He was publicly recognizing that the source of supply was not the small, physical basket in his hands, but the infinite, invisible field of the Creator that surrounds us all. He did not focus his eyes on the not enough of the fish. He focused his entire being on the more than enough of the divine frequency he was calling forth from the heart of God. This moment on the hillside was a living, breathing demonstration that the word Jesus used had the literal power to multiply physical matter by aligning it with spiritual truth. He was teaching us, through a miracle of expansion, that when we apply the frequency of Burka to even our smallest resources, we break the illusion of limits that the world has placed upon us. He showed us that the pool of supply is not subject to the laws of scarcity that govern the marketplace. By speaking this word, Jesus rolled away the stone of lack for an entire multitude, proving that one person aligned with the frequency of blessing can change the reality for thousands. This is the authority. You are invited to step into Tadatha, realization that your current resources are not your limit, but merely the starting point for a divine multiplication. Perhaps you're wondering why these original teachings remained hidden for so long. That's why we created the Aramaic Wisdom Guide, because true knowledge sets us free. The link is waiting for you in the comments. There is a profound and visible contrast between those who walk the earth under the heavy, suffocating cloud of not enough, and those who have truly awakened the frequency of Burka within their spiritual DNA. The person trapped in the frequency of lack lives in a state of constant weary defense. Every decision is made from a place of fear, clutching what they have with white-knuckled intensity, terrified that if they let go, or if they are too generous, the universe will somehow fail to replenish them. This state of being is not just mentally exhausting, it is spiritually. It creates a closed circuit where no new energy can enter, because the hands and the heart are too tightly shut. This was never the way you were intended to live. Jesus carried a peace that seemed illogical to the world around him, a serenity that remained unshaken even when the storms of life were at their most violent. He could be calm in the midst of the tempest because he knew, with an absolute Aramaic certainty, that the pool of divine supply was never more than a breath away. However, we must address why so many sincere seekers today attempt to use these ancient words and yet find themselves standing in the same dry desert, frustrated and wondering why the heavens seem like brass above them. They repeat the sounds. They study the history, but they remain on the outside looking in. This is because there is a critical internal componenta-specific alignment of the heart and the breath that acts as the final key to the lock. Without this key, the word is just a sound, lacking the rucha or the spirit breath required to give it life. There is a common mistake, a subtle but devastating error in posture that almost everyone makes when they try to mentalize or speak the word Burka. It is a mistake that actually pushes the blessing away even as you are calling for it. Most people are unaware they are doing it, yet it is the primary reason their spiritual efforts feel like a constant uphill struggle. In the next chapter, we will finally resolve this misunderstanding, ensuring that when you speak, the heavens do not just hear you, they respond. To use the word Burka with the same authority as the masters of old, you must understand that it is a working word, a vibration meant to be woven into the very fabric of your biological rhythm. The ancient secret to unlocking this frequency lies in the marriage of the sound with your breath. As you draw air into your lungs, you are not just taking in oxygen, you are visualizing the pool of infinite divine potential filling the deepest chambers of your heart. And as you exhale, you are not just releasing air. You are speaking the word Burka to distribute that potential into the atmosphere of your home, your bank account, and your relationships. Now, we must resolve the common mistake mentioned before. The error of pushing. Most people, when they are desperate for a change, try to force the blessing out through sheer willpower or emotional intensity. They shout into the void, hoping that their effort will move the heart of God. But Jesus taught a path of radical surrender and flow. In Aramaic thought, you do not push the water out of a spring. You simply remove the stone and allow the pressure of the source to do the work for you. When you try to force a breakthrough, you are actually signaling to the universe that you believe the breakthrough is currently absent. You are reinforcing the frequency of lack. The shift you must make today is to stop trying to create abundance, and instead become the kneeling vessel. The literal meaning of the root of Burka allows the pre-existing abundance to pour through you. This is the practical application of the Aramaic code. You are an open conduit, not a manufacturer. By shifting your internal posture from seeking to flowing, you instantly remove the resistance that has kept your prosperity at bay for years. This is how you reclaim your spiritual authority and begin to walk in the same miraculous ease that characterized the life of Jesus. We are just scratching the surface of this ancient power. Get ready, because in our next video, I will reveal even deeper Aramaic codes that unlock spiritual authority you've never imagined. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss this unfolding revelation. Imagine walking into your workplace or facing a difficult financial decision, not with the old, familiar sense of dread, but with the silent, golden vibration of Burka humming in your spirit. When you face a situation that looks like lack, you no longer react with the patterns of anxiety that have governed your past. Instead, you mentally place the frequency of Jesus over the situation, seeing it as a dry pool that is about to be filled by an invisible spring. This is how you integrate these high-frequency teachings into the very fabric of your modern life by becoming a conscious conduit of divine expansion in every room you enter. When you begin to see the world through the lens of this original Aramaic resonance, you realize that you are never truly unsupported. You are part of a living system of grace that is always seeking to express itself through your hands and your words. This is the shift from being a victim of circumstances to becoming an architect of reality. Just a quick reminder, the transformation guides for a fuller life are waiting for you, right there in the comments. Transformation protocol, to truly anchor this transformation and prevent the old echoes of scarcity from returning. I invite you to begin a daily ritual of sacred activation. For the next 7 days, before you engage with the noise of the world, sit in silence and breathe the word Burka 7 times. On Tainale, feel the weights of divine favor settling upon you like a soft, luminous garment. Onti exhale. Whisper the word, sending its vibration into the hours ahead of you. Do not beg for change. Simply acknowledge the pool that is already open within you. This shift from seeking to acknowledging is the protocol that leads to true spiritual and physical prosperity. It is the path Jesus walked, and it is the path that is now open to you. If this message touched your heart or brought new understanding into your life, write the word restoration in the comments below. Your testimony may be the very spark that encourages someone else who is currently seeking healing and renewal. Thank you for sharing this journey of ancient wisdom with us at Divine Light Academy. Until the next revelation, walk in peace, walk in freedom, and walk in the power. Be open,